Hey there, GDQ, back to black. My name's Ryudo, and I'm here to submit my run for Elevator Action Returns on the arcade or Sega Saturn / Steam version, the Steam version re-release being an emulation of the Sega Saturn version. Over the last 2 years, we've come up with a lot of new techniques in Elevator Action Returns. I've run this before at the Juneteenth 2022 GDQ hotfix event, and it was a plenty good run at the time, but since then a lot more has been developed between myself and the other two world record runners, the opponent and Captain Gordon. So I want to bring these new techniques and everything like that to a run again with Back to Black, and hopefully you all will be excited to see this run. But with that in mind, let's go ahead and get down to the run. So as I mentioned before, there's been a lot of new updates to this run that has been discovered over the past 2 years, and we're starting off with starting on the player 2 side instead of the player 1 side. This mostly affects stage 3 and stage 1 just due to how the elevator cycles work in this game, but it does allow you to catch a favorable cycle in this first stage. So by starting off slightly to the right of this first stage here, we're able to make a favorable elevator cycle that makes it just a bit faster throughout the rest of the stage. So you can see the bottom right elevator here. That one should not move while the one upstairs does. So if we are fast enough, we can be able to go down and catch the elevator just barely before it goes down. And by doing that, we can take an early death here and then go catch this door over here. So that is very tight to do, and even if you do miss that, you still get a better elevator cycle run compared to some other previous runs that we had. But we're going to also take the elevator all the way down here, jump through this wall here, and if everything has gone right, we'll also get a favorable elevator cycle on this next section down here where the elevator meets us down another floor, and then we can take that to the very end. And that completes stage 1. Stage 2 is a lot of the same. It's just a better understanding of how to handle the mid-level boss with all the jetpacks here. But we're going to start off by running off to the right here. So as I kind of mentioned earlier, being further to the right doesn't super matter. And that's just mostly because the elevator cycles can only come up so fast. So it doesn't really affect anything in terms of speed. That's, all that valuable. You'll still reach here about the same time. So you kind of set yourself up here and start shooting from here. You want to be slightly to the right here because you want them to land on these barrels as much as you possibly can. I'm going to get this guy here. So basically, just try and do a better job of making sure they hit the enemies upon entry. And the big thing about these enemies here is that they will die if they're launching from the ground in one hit if they're airborne. If they're not, then they will take about 3 hits on the ground. So you want to make sure that you try to get them as soon as possible. And if they do, you can kind of throw a bomb at them and try to be ready for that. And so right here, you want to make sure that your gun flare is... You can see the back of the airplane where that line is. You can want to make sure that your gun flare is shooting over that so that the enemies behind you are able to walk away. This is something that only Jad and maybe Cart could do. And then Eddie, unfortunately, she cannot be in a position enough that she can make the enemies behind her spawn away. Throw 3 bombs when the red guy comes out. And we'll go ahead and try to take a skip here. And there we go. With that invulnerability, you're able to drop down a floor. Usually, if you're not invulnerable, you will end up dying by falling a floor's worth of height. So you want to make sure that you just kind of use your invincibility where you can to skip floors and whatnot. I'm going to throw this here just for the sake of not being annoyed by these enemies. I'm needing bombs for the rest of the stage anyway, so that part does not matter all that much. Another little trick here is just being able to shimmy off that a little bit faster. Just a small little technique. It's not a make-all, break-all of any sort, but it is a nice little thing to add to your repertoire. And then we have this wonderfully dressed red suit man. I'm sure he's up to no good. But we're not going to worry about that. We'll catch up to him eventually. He does not realize how fast we are. So this is stage 3, where you actually have to go a little bit slower at the start. So like 1, 2, half a second, and then start running to try to catch the next section up here. It's just mostly by feel. But we'll see what happens here. So we'll get the top right elevator here. And if the timing is right, we should be able to just barely catch it. There we go. That was a lot tighter than I was expecting. Once again, not a end-all thing if you do end up like not catching that elevator, but that's absolutely fine. And try to do some movement here. We're trying to spawn an enemy on the second floor up top there. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, not a big deal, but we did. So we actually got very lucky with that. So that makes this elevator come down just a bit faster. And we want to start that elevator up another floor. Something that you can do this entire game is just, you know, jump an elevator up at the same time as you're jumping off of it. So you can kind of get your the elevator to return back faster to you. Usually marginal, and it kind of scrolls the screens in different ways. So it's a useful tool, but it's not an always tool. It's not an always snack. It's like dessert. It's good every now and then, but you don't want to go too ham on it. I'm just going to throw these bombs here for the sake of safety and making sure I can get to these elevators just fine without being interrupted too badly. This will give me less bombs at the boss at the top there, but it's not the end of the world. It's more ideal just to make sure that you can get to the boss fast enough. Alright, just gonna wait here half a second. And so we're gonna get to this top here and jump to this left side elevator so we can just scroll it up just barely. This gets us to the top floor here, but at the very top left there, you can see that elevator. We're gonna wait for that elevator to go up before we go up so that it syncs up the rest of this section here. So you can barely catch this elevator here. This elevator comes down just on time, and it holds this elevator right here down long enough so we can be able to catch it. Sometimes we're lucky, he'll take this elevator down. Sometimes he doesn't. He's a finicky man with a plan. Oh! Don't shoot me there. All right, you're able to run and catch this just barely as it goes up, so that elevator will take you automatically up. So the setup for this boss has changed up a little bit. So basically what we're going to do is try to set up grenades so that we're timing it so that it will land on these elevators here and here, if I can get that. And then we're going to shoot the lights out, because enemies seem to die faster if the lights are out for the sake of bonuses. Oh, the top ones didn't explode. That's unfortunate. That happens. Ideally, we want those barrels at the top to explode. But because I need to preserve 2 bombs for the next stage, I'm just going to have to just do this by gun only. So what you kind of want to do is the enemies will actually be vulnerable if they're trying to shoot at you. So you kind of want to get them in a position that where they're going to try to shoot you. And if you can kind of shoot them multiple times, kind of combo them a little bit. And you kind of hold down here just a bit, and you want to be at the bottom floor for the reason of making sure... Oh, hello. Making sure that you are consistently bringing them down, but there's kind of like a fake floor there, so they can only go down so far, versus being closer to the top, they might be able to fly around a little bit more and like go a lot lower before they're able to aim back at you. So you want to be at the bottom floor to kind of make sure they have less variance in where they're flying. All right, so we'll see what happens here. There's no healing there. I might want to take a death here, actually, but it's hard to say, honestly. You know, we'll just have to play this one by ear, because once again, this game is sometimes perfect, sometimes not. It's not the worst thing in the world if you miss certain things and tricks here. Speaking of a trick I may miss here. Oh, I got it this time. Nice. I've been missing that a lot as of late. So you kind of just have to play it by ear, but this is one reason we need the grenade. That burger looked good, but this would also script the time for this section here. If we don't make it there, that elevator would not prepare there, and then we can get up on this elevator here. But we're going to keep moving and hope that this one doesn't kill me here. It wouldn't be the worst death to take, though. Yeah. It wouldn't be the worst death to take. It's fine. Let's see if we can go ahead and get rid of this guy here. Oh, we can. That's fine. See if we can get this elevator on time there. Perfect. Yeah, so all it really does is it changes the elevator cycles. Of course, you know, not dying in areas you don't want to die intentionally at is, you know, not ideal, of course. But nonetheless here, you can always just kind of make up for it. You delay leaving that door just a bit, because if you leave a little bit early, that guy will shoot you out of the air. And that's always a problem. But we need a little bit of health for this next stage here. Because if we don't have that extra bit of health, we do miss out on a skip here, which we do have a new setup for that skip to make it a little bit more consistent, but it's still a little timing intensive here. So we're going to drop off here with our invincibility. And then we need to make sure we drop off this elevator specifically, just barely before it hits the floor. And then we're going to drop this elevator here, walk back a bit, and when it starts to get on the elevator, we jump. Just to make sure that, you know, there's a little bit of inconsistency about how fast they accelerate and how many steps they take on a run. So by jumping off the elevator, with that consistency, it'll make sure that we can always land on that elevator as it's coming up. Because we need to land halfway, otherwise we'll die because you have to fall an actual entire floor before you are able to, you know, actually die from fall damage if you're not invincible. So then we run across here. We'll go ahead and just jump across here, throw a grenade to stop all these folks from attacking us. We're gonna grab that just barely and jump up here as well. And then we'll jump in here and we'll just wait for a bit here just to avoid having problems with all the enemies out here. Uh-oh, don't hurt me. Ah, yeah, like, not a big deal. So we're gonna wait down here for a second. Kind of get these enemies who are distracting us out here. When they do that second shot, you can run up here. This is a kind of new trick where they want you try to jump right there and it hopefully sets up the next elevator cycle just well enough. We'll see if I can get to this elevator to the left here just in time before it leaves. Just barely. That was so close. So that does increase the speed of this run right here. So you want to jumpstart this elevator here, go into this door, exit out, and then for the next section here, you basically want to make sure the elevator hits the floor every single time before you start running off there. Otherwise, it'll scroll the screen in a weird way, and it'll make it hard to catch these next areas. Oh, God, I have to jump over this guy. Oh, got him. All right, so we just chase after the red guy in here. Very good run in this section. And it gets to the last stage where it takes a culmination of everything we've learned throughout these past areas and puts it into one final test, along with a new trick if I'm able to get it as well. So we're gonna go ahead and drop down here. Oh, okay, that happens. Hopefully he does not hit me though, I don't want to take extra damage. All right, so we'll go down here and take this first elevator. So we usually take the third elevator down, the one to the most left, because it's like, well, we might as well take the elevator over while there's no enemies available. But surprisingly, actually this first elevator is a little bit faster because you're able to control a bit of RNG and some of the elevator cycles as well going down, so that you don't have to stop for anything, and unless you catch a little bit of an elevator cycle later, so you don't have to worry about it. So you throw some grenades down here and down there. So if there's an enemy that spawns on that first floor that we saw there, then they'll be stopped by the grenade. In this case, there was no spawn. So then, but that allows us to catch this elevator cycle very consistently. That was dangerous. And then we'll go up here as well. That dog's gonna bite my ankles, but that's fine. We're gonna take a potential death up here. Now I'm thinking about how I want to take this death, but I think I will because having the health is very, very good. So we're gonna take a death right here, just to make sure that we have some health going into this next section here, because we'll need to take a few hits. Gonna jumpstart the elevator. Wait half a second so we don't have to get hit by that explosion. If we take a hit by that, actually, that is optimal. All right, so if we can do this. Oh, we have to take this hit here, unfortunately. So what you want to do, ideally, is get that guy who I jumped into to take a shot at you. And we're going to just hold this elevator down here. And then we're going to go up here. And there's another new trick here as well. If we can get this... a little bit short. Unfortunately, it's a new trick that is kind of hard to execute on because it's very, very tight timing. But nonetheless here, you'll wait for this elevator here. Once again, it's not make or break or anything like that. But as I was mentioning earlier, you want that guy to take a shot at you so you can take that elevator from earlier just a little bit faster with the invulnerability. We're going to take a death here, actually. So I can, I was going to say so I can get that elevator a little bit faster, but unfortunately, no. All right, we're going to take this elevator down here. If I am fast enough, I should be able to get up there. Oh, unless they do shoot me. Things can get messy in this last stage here. If you do try to take some of the riskier attempting at world record strats, we're still kind of narrowing down some of the stuff that we can and cannot do here. That is absolutely fine. It's not the end of the world once again. So what we're going to do here instead is we're just going to take this hit right here. Oh, he shot twice. I was not ready. But we're going to use our invulnerability and just do it old school style. You can do some rocket shenanigans here. Unfortunately, I did take a death while I had no continues, which is a fault of mine, but that is actually okay. Because once again, this game moves really fast. So we'll go ahead and just throw some bombs against the door, make sure it takes that damage there, and then we're able to run our body against the final machine. That'll do 1 damage per frame and destroy it really quickly. And then that will be the end of Elevator Action Returns. As much as I would love to say that I intentionally ended it on 1337 or Leet, I sure did not. But that said, very snappy game, very quick. There's a lot of new things that we've learned here or there. And even some of my more I'm learning stuff along the way or I foible something along the way can end up in goal splits as we saw there. That is the first time I was actually able to get the stage 5 going that fast. It is a very consistent game with a few bits of RNG here and there that can work to your favor. It's ideal, but it's never required to be able to beat the game, finish a game, or even, at this point, truly get a world record. Absolutely love this game. It's a wonderful game. Myself, Captain Gordon, and the opponent have been working on our runs as well and learning stuff along the way. And it has been a small knit but very educational community in terms of speedrunning. If possible, I would like to invite them as well to do a race on the event too. Unfortunately, I have not gotten to ask at this time yet just because it's too far in the future, but if they do say yes, this could also be a race, which wouldn't change the time at all. It would still be around 14 minutes estimate because Cart is a little bit faster and Eddie is a little bit slower than Jad. But either way, thank you so much for watching my submission to GDQ Back to Black. I hope to be a part of this event, bringing Elevator Action Returns to more people out there. And with that, I'm Ryudo, signing out. Take care, you all.